What's up? Welcome back to Nowstalgia. Dave here with a review of Knock at the Cabin, new film from M. Night Shyamalan, the apocalyptic thriller, psychological horror film, latest film from M. Night. Very exciting. And I'll start with no spoilers, real quick. I'll get into spoilers later. No spoilers. I like the film. I think it's a really tight, economical thriller, builds tension well, doesn't wear out its welcome, and more than anything else, exceptionally well acted, especially with Dave Bautista's performance at the center of the film. I would definitely recommend it on those grounds. It's not really a scary movie in like the traditional horror sense. I wouldn't really even call it a horror movie, but it's a suspenseful movie. It is a tension-filled movie, and it builds to that tension and holds that tension well. And I would definitely endorse Knock at the Cabin. That being said, um, I didn't like absolutely love the movie, love where it ended up, but I think overall it's quite well made. Once again, you have M. Night's, I think, camera technique really on display. In this case, just a lot of like really well done close ups of this film. I mean, we're set in this cabin with this couple played by Ben Aldridge and Jonathan Groff with their young daughter. They're off at this cabin on vacation, and they get uh, a knock on the cabin. They get uh, an encounter from this group of people led by Dave Bautista's character Leonard, and they're presented with this difficult task, an impossible choice, as it were, in the name of saving the world. And that's really our premise here. So we're set in this one place the whole time, and the cast is very self-contained with this small group. And I think the blocking in the cabin with those close-ups on all your actors' faces really effective, and has, I think, a way of communicating like that dread that the some of the characters are facing to the audience as you're watching it. So Knock at the Cabin, pretty good uh thriller film from M. Night. More than anything else, I'm just happy to see this movie, find some success. It had like a 20-ish million-dollar worldwide opening weekend, which doesn't sound like a lot, but then you have to remember that Knock at the Cabin only cost $20 million before marketing. So M. Night once again is making movies at an economical, cost-effective manner without the movie coming across as cheap in any way. And I think that's really cool because once again, Shyamalan is co-financing a lot of his films the past few years. So I'm all for an original voice in Hollywood finding his way outside the traditional studio system, or at least outside the traditional way of working with studios. So uh, hats off to M. Night. And if he just keeps making like thrillers like this, tight little movies like this, with like some kind of like high concept premise, and just throwing you for a loop for 90 minutes, like why not? Like I think he's kind of really killing it and really kind of finding a groove the past few years. And obviously there'll be ups and downs with that approach, but I think just as someone who's committed to making original stuff and also has like the technique as a director to back it up, I think it's uh, hard not to root for M. Night. All right, so now I'm gonna get into spoilers for Knock at the Cabin. So, you know, spoilers from here on out. Let me know what you thought of the movie once or just come back. Let me know what you think once you've seen it. So yeah, I think what's really cool about Knock at the Cabin, really my favorite thing about it, is Dave Bautista as Leonard. And man, Dave Bautista is doing such interesting work, such inspired work. The past, I don't know, what, 5+ years, he's working with talented people like a Ryan Johnson, like a Denny Villeneuve, for example. Uh, Now an M. Night, he's seeking out talented people, and he's playing like real characters. Dave Bautista is running laps around Dwayne Johnson, The Rock. It's so refreshing to see someone really give themselves into a character, given obviously the humble wrestling beginnings that Batista has. But honestly, his central performance as Leonard is the key to Night at the Cabin working as well as it does. He really communicates a kindness, and I think in an effective manner, while still being firm in what he's presenting. You know, this family with what they have to do, and I think really from the opening opening scene where you meet Leonard, where Batista encounters uh, Aldridge and Groff's daughter's character Wen, played by Kristen Key. When Leonard meets Wen, like, and you learn later that he's a teacher. This character, man, like I thought, like the way like they communicated was so felt so real, felt so genuine, And then really quickly we get into that presentation of the impossible choice where we meet the rest of Leonard's crew played by Nikki Amuka-Bird, Abby Quinn, and of course Rupert Grint of Harry Potter fame. And yeah, on its face it seems really simple, right? Like you have to kill they're told that they have to kill one of them, otherwise the apocalypse will fall upon earth and everyone will eventually die. And what I really like about Knock at the Cabin is that you are quickly thinking about whether this is real or not, you know? And the doubt that Ben Aldridge in particular really his character Andrew, the doubt that Andrew really brings in terms of this not believing what's being presented by these people, accusing them of being cultists or trying to expose them or harm them in some way because they're a gay couple, whatever it might be. That doubt, I think, is communicated well to the audience, and you're not really sure what's going on either as you watch this group slowly kill themselves one by one as Andrew and Jonathan Groff's character Eric, as Andrew and Eric refuse to comply with their demands. You know, I think it's really harrowing. And the movie makes, I think, a really pointed choice of not really showing you the deaths of Leonard's crew. The camera pointedly really cuts away at the uh, moment, of truth each time. But it still feels really harrowing and really heavy, and it's like you don't even know if you like these people, but they are like being nice about this really difficult situation they are presenting this family with. And I was just kind of along for that ride. And then you eventually learn that yeah, the apocalypse is really happening and it's communicated, I think, effectively via all the times they turn on the TV and they see what's happening with the news. And like it gets kind of undeniable that this is real and they need to find a way to comply. Um, in the process, you get a classic M. Night Shyamalan cameo in the air fryer commercial. I thought was really fun, really landed. Classic Rick Dalton pointing at the TV meme right there. But that made me chuckle. Yeah, though, like man, like as we're just watching everyone die, obviously Rupert Grint being the first one to die, I was like, ah, man, I don't see Rupert Grint too much. I would have loved him to stick around a little longer, but man, I think if I have like a main criticism of Knock at the Cabin, it's just that you kind of like see how it's going to resolve itself before it happens. You know that Andrew is steadfast in his disbelief that this is real, and you can kind of tell early on that Eric is going to be the one to turn things around and realize what has to be done. Like you kind of feel that, And Knock at the Cabin doesn't really have like a twist. It doesn't have the quote Shyamalan twist that people expect. And not that it needed to have a twist. Obviously, I don't think it's fair to M. Night necessarily as a filmmaker to have to live up to that reputation. But it's more so that not that it doesn't have a twist, but more so like there's not like actually like any extra subtext or takeaway by the end. It's more really just a tight, suspenseful thriller movie that ends itself. It's based off a novel. I think that's probably part of it. But when it ends, I think you're just kind of like, oh, wow, that was a ride, and it was a pretty good one. But there's not like any extra like meaning or takeaway per se. I guess my takeaway really is just the meta sense of Dave Bautista is like really smashed it as Leonard. I really loved him. But yeah, I think that's really it. Another pretty tight thriller, pretty fun movie. Not too scary, but still pretty full of suspense and dread. Shout out M Night. What'd you think of Knock at the Cabin? Let me know. Leave a comment. Did you like this more than Old from 2021, M Night Shyamalan's previous film? I believe he has another movie that he's working on now. I forget the title, but let me know what you thought. And for more movies, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.